All right, welcome back. I'm super excited to give you guys the ends of one of my favorite readings. In fact, when I do happy birthday readings for people, this is the spread I use, and incorporates using 3 decks. I happen to use a couple of tarot decks normally. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to use 3 oracle decks for you to show you how it works with oracle decks only. Maybe that's where you're at right now. I'm going to use the Fool's Wisdom deck. This is the one that's going to replace, at least having kind of that tarot deck to talk about real life things. I'm also going to use the Moon deck that I have right here, and I'm going to use the Mystic Rebel deck. So these are the 3 decks I'm going to use. So this is a card reading where you can ask a specific question, but honestly, I've created it to cover all areas of your life. It's one where you could do like a monthly reading for yourself, and you can say, okay, what's going to be going on in the next month or week? You could do a daily reading for yourself, but I think this is a lot of information to take in one day, almost too much. I think it's almost overload. I've always been guided to do these bigger readings once a month as like the most frequent. So let's go ahead. Let's get 3 cards out. So this is a really easy spread. It's not complicated at all. We're going to draw 3 cards from our first deck and put them down 1, 2, 3, just like you would do a 3-card reading. So there's our first one, second one, and our third one. Excuse me. And each column actually means something different. So the first column is all about you, second column is all about your relationships, and the third column is all about your career, and we'll talk about how that intertwines with your life purpose, because I know that's a big deal for a lot of people. It's connecting up with that. Actually, let's do this deck next. So we're going to pull out 3 more cards. And let's see what they are. I have 2. We need just 1 more. There it is. And then finally, I wanted to pull out the Moon deck to offer us some insights and also maybe a little bit of ritual that we can keep in mind to support the different areas of our life. How we can support ourselves, how we can support, this next one here is for our relationships and our career and our purpose. So let's do it. We're going to do this little reading. I'm gonna kind of flip it around here so you're going to see what this looks like. Here we go. So this is what I'm saying. Sorry, it's iPhone Central camera here. We've got 3 columns, and each column has a particular meaning. So the way we do this reading is we go start at the very top, upper left-hand corner, and then we go down and we read all 3 decks, and this is all about us. This column is let's take it all in. So I'm assuming this reading's about me. It's a good learning experience here to just be open and roll with it. Boy, I'm getting a lot of blessings as far as learning goes. Okay, so here we go. First card. And it's actually an upside down one, which I know that deck has some reverse meaning. So I'm going to turn over all 3 of the cards so I can just get an idea. I want to get a perspective. I'm not turning over all 9 of them, just the 3 in the first column. So I've got a Fool's Wisdom card turned over. I've got a Mystic Rebel card deck turned over, and then also the Moon one turned over. So the first one here is upside down. So this is the right side up. It's the thoughtful, but he's got like an upside down meaning to it. And I don't know much about this deck. So honestly, this is a great way to kind of dive in here. Normally, right side up, this is a thoughtful. He's saying, okay, time is like to think before you act. But there's a whole other meaning to it when it's reversed. So let's look at what that means. Let's see if I found number 22. Okay. So it's all about confusion. So this first card for me is indicating some confusion. I might start wondering where there's confusion in my life. So it's saying, next line here, although it's important to be considerate of others, it's also equally vital not to allow your own needs to get lost in your good intentions. So this is where it's really honing in on my needs, because this is, again, my column. Telling me more not to neglect myself, don't ignore what I need or my desires. And so I might actually use the next card and I say, okay, so this is what this card is kind of pointing out to us is, take a thoughtful effort into what you're doing with the world. Is saying, hey, I might be overthinking things if I'm being overly involved in other people, and I'm underthinking what I need to do to take care of myself. Here it says, every soul has his or own challenges to face and burdens to bear. This is how an individual picks up soul-strengthening lessons that serve throughout the journey of life. If you rob people of their lessons by always taking on the burden for them, despite your well-meaning intentions, you're actually stifling their growth and compromising your own. Keep your awareness sharp and be polite and courteous. Exercise patience. Offer assistance where appropriate, but don't become the local rescue service, always fixing or solving other people's problems. So this actually does, it kind of hits home for me, because I'm always wanting to help people out. I have people reach out to me all the time. So for me, that's expending too much of my energy on others, it's the me column. So it's when I'm dealing with that, I'm not turning that attention on me. And then what does it affect in my life? Oh my goodness, it affects my relationships. So imagine that. Then when I give too much outward, involving myself in others, it didn't say necessarily my immediate others, and what came to mind was my career, how much I give as part of my service, how much in between one-on-one sessions do I give to people until I say, okay, let's do a reading. That's my boundary issue. And then I take it out on my relationships. So how am I going to support myself? By understanding foundationally when I need to draw that line. My relationships are actually going to be supported. And so then the next card is going to be all about trusting the mystery of life. So I can look up in that deck, where's my moon deck right here, I can look up and find out, this is number 28, find out what the mystery is. So it's about trusting my flow. So this energy, this ritual, is meant to move energy, awaken trust, and build confidence in the dark. So as an interesting concept here is it kind of takes that turn and says, okay, so what do you need to do when you're done, when you're done processing everybody else's issues and everybody else's problems? It's saying, okay, your relationships are going to become better, but still keep that focus on you. It's not all like this you column. I love that there's a relationship card in here. It helps tell us that that's a side effect of when you give, when I'm giving too much of myself outward. And this is how this is a ritual I can bring in to support myself. So this is going to be one where you actually close your eyes, turn off the lights, wear a blindfold, I guess, if you're doing this in the daytime. I have a blindfold, like a sleeping one that I could use. And so it's telling you to use your senses, your hands, feet, breath, to move, to walk throughout your space. Oh my goodness, this would be one that would be really difficult for me. So an interesting one is this, it's coming up to say, okay, I may not do this for myself, but it's telling me I need to. So it goes back to that last one where we have to trust our cards. So it says, remain grounded and in tune with your breath the entire time. Feel all that arises and allow your psychic and intuitive abilities to guide and speak through your movements. If any discomfort arises, repeat the mantra, I trust the mystery of life, and continue on. Close this ritual with child's pose, resting for a moment. Then meditate on your experience. All right, well, this is something I can do for me. I can say, all right, in every single one of those moments and it's like, okay, just closing your eyes and getting rid of all those distractions. This is what it's saying to you, is turn inward. In those times when you're giving so much outward, take that moment and turn it towards yourself. So this is a message. Our next three cards come in to support us on our relationships. How can we be supported on our relationships? So we have the dutiful. So we feel a certain duty within our relationships. Look, this fool is coming up to me like right and strong. And I know the upright meanings of these. So there's a certain time when we have our duties and we do that duty out of love. We don't expect anything in return, and that's totally fine. This is how we draw a line in the sand. Because our next, our thing is when you start doing things out of hoping that you're going to get something in return, right? So what's that? I can't remember the word for it. It doesn't matter. So you put some sort of like assumption that something's going to happen because you give some love, some support, something to another person in some way from yourself, from your own energies, and it doesn't come back to you. So this is where you're going to find out, okay, am I doing this out of love, or am I doing this in hopes of something in return? And then you say no to the things that you're doing in hopes of something in return, and you only do what is in your duty to do out of the place of unconditional love and support for that other person. Otherwise, it goes back to this first card here, this reversed one, where you're going overboard and you're actually taking away from the experience somebody else is supposed to be having. So that's pretty deep, okay? Oh, pretty deep. So, and then our moon card to support your relationships here is I have unlimited potential and claim my purpose. All I need is within me. So this one, without even looking at the ritual, which you can look at the ritual, you can find out what that's all about. But that one is telling me, okay, also in times that I might reach out and think that I need certain relationships in my life, that's something that comes from a place of not trusting that everything I have and need is within me. That the connection to all there is within me. So I don't really need to go searching outside of myself for anything. So this really brings it back in. Then you can look at what does that mean as far as putting that into ritual. So this is one where it's giving you actually kind of like a yoga pose. Sometimes it's just a very simple pose, maybe more of a Kundalini yoga pose is what I'm saying. A posture to hold while breathing a certain way. So this is that exercise. So you step with your feet slightly wider than your hips, feet rooted to the ground, extend your arms upwards, turn palms to face forward and spread your fingers wide. So forward, arms up, straight like that. You imagine your legs grounding with the earth, and also imagine that connection with your higher self coming from above. So then you do a bee breath. And so you seal your lips. You inhale and you exhale a for as long as possible. It's telling you to do this. And you do this 5 to 10 times. And then afterwards, after you do that, after you have that vibration fill your body, and I mean, you do this without any embarrassment for who may be watching. So this is going to come to support you. Every time you have to say, no, I'm not going to support that person, you're going to feel anxiety. You're going to feel guilt. You're going to feel like you should have done this. You need to go help them. You don't. You need to go and you need to do your bee breath. Because it's going to remind you that you don't need to do anything else. You need to allow them to find that space within themselves to do what they need to do. So this is going so in depth. Who knew that this kind of reading, without even asking a question, was going to uncover so many areas of our life that we need to support? I kind of almost think that very first card. So now let's look at where we integrate our career into this. So let's turn over those 3 cards. I think we have a reverse card. I think this one's got a reversal. Some of these don't reverse up in the higher numbers. No, this one doesn't reverse. So it's just got an upright meaning. So let's just turn it around. Let's turn it around. So we have 3 cards here: career, life purpose. So I have my first one is the drunken fool. The drunken fool. So taken like into total, like what it means would be, okay, I have a beer every once in a while. So does this mean I need to stop drinking? So let's look at what it means. So not necessarily. Look, there's 2 meanings. This is where I was like, oh, come on. Like sometimes I just want to have a beer and relax. So what does it say? The drunken fool has stumbled into your life. This is all about my career, overwhelming my senses, intoxicating me with alluring seductions, and distracting me. So this is true. I've had a lot of things coming into my sphere career-wise that have started to like distract me from. I have this book. I'll actually show it to you. This is a planner. I have some notes written about today's course. But I've got, this is my planner page where I get to write down my appointments. I don't have a lot written on this week because, just didn't have a lot of appointments. But I have this sets up quarterly, all the things I'm supposed to be doing quarterly. And I keep getting ideas of stuff I should be doing. And it's like, oh, you should start coaching and you can charge a big ticket for coaching and make a whole bunch of money. Okay, well, that's a nice, interesting seduction, but it's not in my plan. My plan is this. Okay, so I do see where I'm being seduced by alluring seductions here is what it says. So it's going to tell me that I'm not going to know any limits. If I let one seduction in, I'm going to keep getting tempted, and I'm not going to finish the things that I really wanted to finish in 2019. When you have to divide your life between being a mom and being a supportive wife and having a really functional household to wanting to work and do all this, you can't deviate from some of your plans. It's good to get things done. And this has been an overwhelming message over and over and over for me in card readings this year and recently when I've been distracted, is to just focus. There's another card from another deck that's called the Unfinished Symphony card. That comes up because I just need to focus. So what's that going to do? Me getting focused, not letting all these other distractions. So maybe I let these other distractions come in because I wonder if I'm worthy. Am I worthy to be doing the projects that I set out to do? And also receptivity. Am I receptive to other people's ideas? Well, that's the thing, is I can be receptive to their ideas, but I can also say, and I can come back and honor a no and say, okay, I'm going to put that on my list for next quarter. I love the idea, but it's not even something I can digest right now. And so this is going to help me improve that feeling of worthiness and grow in that ability to receive and be receptive. Then also, my final card here, how can I support my career? I surrender to the power of prayer and devotion. I surrender to the power of prayer and devotion. So I know a lot of you are getting messages from here, from this reading as well, because anybody that's tuning into this is receiving a lovely kind of look into my life and how can you apply it to yours. It's just natural. So this is telling me, and I'm actually doing this, I'm incorporating a lot of mantra into my life right now, and so apparently I need to incorporate this type of devotion not only into my personal life but also into my work life as well. So I do a little haphazard stuff. So I need to incorporate that. So it's telling me a way I can do this with morning prayers. I can set the tone of the day. So upon waking up, before getting out of bed, place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and take several deep breaths. I'll do this tomorrow. And I'll do this for 7 days straight and maybe more. Set the tone of your day as you quietly recite a simple prayer of presence and gratitude, attuning you to your greater purpose and the bigger picture. Weave your own interpretation into this morning prayer and make it personal to you. Here's a little inspiration. One hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Guide me to step into my best self today and be present to the joy and beauty in my life. May I live, think, speak, and act in a way that uplifts and inspires all who cross my path and beyond. Thank you. And so it is. And then start your day. All right, so you can look at all of this and you can say, okay, it can tie right back into that very first card, which is knowing when you're giving too much to other things. Everything in your life, it says, okay, how can we hone back in? It tells you about your relationships, where your duty stands, what you need to be doing that duty out of unconditional love and not out of wanting to receive anything, not on any conditions, conditionality, that was the word I was looking for. And then also, how can you return to that same very first card of honoring yourself and not going overboard within your business? Is for me, it's don't get distracted by all the fun things that seem like good ideas that pop up immediately. So you got to be thoughtful about this process. So this is just a little way to expand upon using cards. You want to throw down a whole bunch of cards all at once, give yourself a little bit of challenge, spend 30 minutes, 45 minutes going through and reading them. They're faster because I don't have to go through and read all of the books. I've done the readings. I receive the intuitive knowledge after a number of years of doing this. You will too. I mean, it's just natural. It's just natural. So go with that. Use the rituals that I've given for you today. Remember, it's 3 columns. You go ahead first, you draw all the cards from each deck. You draw your top 3 cards. Maybe you have that thought. First card is for myself. Second card is for my relationships. Third card is for my career, my purpose. Then you do your next deck, next 3 cards. First card's for myself. Second card's for my relationships. Third card's for my career or my purpose. And then your final deck. You could do even more. You don't have to stop with 3. I just run out of room. And then you go through and you read all 3 from all of them in the column downward, and then move on to the next middle column and then to the final column. So enjoy that. It's a spread I created when I very first started reading cards for others. back then it was a triangle shape, and then I moved all around in circles, and it was quite confusing. And then one day my guide said, you need to just make it simple. You need to kiss this. Keep it simple, sweetheart. And so I did. I kissed it, and I've condensed it down to this really beautiful kind of geometric reading, and it all seems to bring itself right back to the first card, and that's always what's most important to us. I hope you enjoy it. Again, if you're part of the support group, you can always present questions that you have in interpreting these readings up there. You can get support from others and myself. So I hope that you check that out and let me know if you'd be interested. Have a wonderful, wonderful time.